2018 GSL Season 2 Codex Overgrowth.
We're back at the GSL. That first series was sick. I don't know if we can top that. That last game was like,
amazing, yeah.
that was every battle ever in Lord of the Rings packed into one. We're going to go to Impact versus TY. I expect the series to be a little bit shorter, not because of TY, but because of Impact. He seems to be maybe leaning towards being aggressive.
He can pull something out that's not normal, for sure. First rap is actually quite interesting, though, so I'm very curious to see who picks who, or who picked what. But yeah, another thing I was thinking about, how scary would it be to be on the ropes against Sue? Because there's a possible, decider match there,
Sure.
And, playing one series and then playing it again against Sue is really scary, so I'm very curious.
That's a very good point. I mean, Cure wants to just, get
he
out.
needs to take it out, yeah.
And the same is probably true for TY. I think TY should beat Impact. All due respect to Cure, I think TY should beat Cure.
Yeah, so we could see Sue versus Cure again.
This is one of these situations where if it's we have TY versus Sue later on. Oh
man. Oh my God, yeah. Imagine TY versus Sue in the losers.
That's when you got to start disqualifying Impact and Cure. I'm like, sorry, this is bad for the show. It's like, what? It's a tournament. I'm like, sorry.
Yep.
No, in all seriousness, I do hope the best player does move on. Impact versus TY, though.
I'm so excited, honestly. I'm so excited.
We're about to jump into this.
I thought this was the case. I thought Eastwatch would have picked by Impact. This is something where you can do some crazy things. I'll be very surprised if this is playing out the exact same way our last map played out. Especially with Impact's first pick as Eastwatch. That's very suspicious to me.
Okay. Our game is now loading up. This is our second best of 3 tonight. Impact versus TY. Cure waiting in the winner's match to face off against the winner of this best of 3.
Titan EX1 Impact.
So Impact's a interesting player. He's been featured in documentaries. He's really good, but he never quite made, and no pun intended, he never made that
Splice TY,
like that impact that we were kind of hoping for. He's always been very good, and he's always been respected amongst the best players, but I think he's not had the dominance that we were kind of expecting. I'd say 2.5. 3 years ago from him. And, honestly, this is probably one of his biggest challenges yet because this group is just so stacked.
It's funny to see that Impact's one big accomplishment was VSL, which was the best of 1 qualifier, It's just pretty funny just how that works because, obviously, if you play like a really unpredictable style, you'll be the king of best of 1. So funny that he won that tournament against Hero, too. Of all people. Hero versus Impact in the finals.
Yeah.
But, very curious to see what's played out this game. This guy's very excited. What is that?
I think it's a train ticket.
Okay.
Have you been able to travel around Korea that much?
Very little. I want to go to
Taking the
Busan,
train?
but I haven't been there.
Where else have you been in Korea besides?
I went to Jeongju.
Okay.
Which is like a traditional village, and I live in Incheon, so that's like a different place.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty exotic. Wow.
That's about it, though, honestly.
It's like another continent over there.
The trains are really nice, though.
Oh, yeah. The train system out here is pretty good.
So I'm actually super curious to see how Impact... I'll be very surprised if Impact's like, yeah, we're going to play Eastwatch, and I'm going to play a standard game. Like, that. It's just like, my mind would be blown.
I mean, let's see what he chooses to do here.
4-0 for a TY.
I feel like I'm having to massively shift gears here after that last game we just had. It was, so long.
If you take the Impact tag off of this game, you'd think, oh, God, we're in for another one,
Oh, right, yeah.
But
well, I mean, maybe he will try to do something more macro-oriented. Sometimes that, especially if you're a player who just does a lot of rushes and plays kind of cheesy, then
it is
that could be like the way that you want to do it.
We are mining a lot of gas from Impact already. I'm very curious if this could be something like we have to see if there's a lair. Okay, he's getting speed, overload speed. Okay, this is just for scouting, I guess, but I feel like it's unnecessary. I don't know.
Well, unless he has something really kind of crazy set up for later.
I guess we'll have to see where the next
thing is. If you go for overlord speed, a lot of times they'll just see that you've got it and go, okay.
Yeah, it's nothing too alarming right now, but I think he's still mining heavily on gas here. Plus 60. I guess this is only 1 or 2 drones. 1 drone, maybe. Okay, this could just be standard with Overlord speed. I think this is a style that's been super unfavored as of late, so kind of interesting to me. We'll see.
But why do you think he's going for that?
I don't know, actually. Because normally you can just sack the Overlord, which is what he's doing without Overlord speed. Like, he's sending it in with Overlord speed now, but you can't just sack this Overlord and get the exact same scouting. So, yeah, we don't really see it that often. It is nice to have complete awareness of what's going to happen. I guess it's nice against TY, too, specifically, especially because he likes to play the aggressive style, too, as well. Like with the Ghost Cyclone style. But it's just unlikely on Eastwatch, so a little bit surprising.
So we got the Reaper and the Hellions doing some damage here on the hatchery. This shouldn't really have any actual impact on this game. No pun intended there.
You like the word impact, don't you?
I actually really did not mean to use it, and then it came out, and I'm like, well, all right. So the Viking out here, he'll be able to try to get, well, he will get this Overlord.
Yep.
He's now going to try to come back in here and see if there's any other intel.
So, like, in general, you lose this Overlord to the Scouting Marine, but you get the Scouting, right? So if you lose the Overlord when you go Overlord speed, it just seems very counterintuitive to do that in the first place.
It's not the direction you want to bring the game to, right?
Yeah. I'm super wondering. I think this will have to play into something else, this Overlord speed, to justify it. So we might see something like droppy later on. Maybe some Roach Harass with drops, like 4 Roach drops in the main. That would be something that I could see utilizing that Overlord drop well.
Anyway, it would seem to fit the playstyle as well.
Yeah.
Here of Impact.
We do see the Roach Horn, so it's possible that is what he'll do. We'll see if he gets Roach speed immediately or not.
So there's 8 more drones coming.
Oh, scouting the double engineer is actually really nice.
That was a really good catch.
That is a really good catch, yeah. I can't overstress that.
Uh-oh. I think this queen might be taken out here. Some more queens are coming in here. It looks like transfuser's viability. So, again, Impact, you know, we have TY...
Another Overlord dying, too.
Brushing up against his opponent, but yeah, you know, he's holding off the pushes over here on the ground. Maybe I spoke too soon with this attack, but he is losing. He's hemorrhaging Overlords and other units here and there.
Is this a wall? I can't tell if this is a wall.
I think that's a tight wall. That's a tight wall.
Oh, this is really nice, actually.
Yeah, it seemed almost like TY was not aware of what...
You definitely are happy if you kill 6 Hellions for 4 workers.
Keep in mind that now... TY doesn't have any real ability to apply pressure. I mean, Liberators can fly around and be annoying, but that's not going to really, hiccup the growth here for Impact. Look, that's one way to do it.
Do you see
if there's ever a unit that can land up there, Blizzard has to make a special unit that can land on unlandable terrain.
Look at this. I've actually never seen this.
Yeah. I don't know why he put that there. Maybe he just didn't want it moving. He wanted it locked.
Yeah, I guess, but you could also just put it on the edge of the base. It's the same thing.
I know, exactly. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's just funny. My guess is a miss shift click, and then he just doesn't fix it because he doesn't know about it. It's just shift clicked it. Or maybe he just doesn't care. Could be that, too.
He could be miffed as well from losing those Hellions. It's not what's supposed to happen there. I mean, Impact has a pretty good opening now since TY was shut down.
So we do see the Overlord drop being utilized. This is where my confusion was a little bit, is how he was going to utilize it. So this is, hopefully, will pay off for him. Make this investment worth it later on in the game. We do see one of these really scary 3-base pushes. This is the push I was talking about where Sue took that hidden base and is really strong because he took it. It's harder to kill it if you don't know it exists, but obviously for Impact, he's just taking a normal 4th. So could siege up on that one. We'll have to see what happens here. It is scouted. Oh, this counterattack could be... Oh, that would have been a nice wall off. Doesn't get it, though.
Okay, so Lings are now getting surrounds here on these Marines.
What's going on the other side? Is this all the Marines he has with
Wait, no,
push?
that can't be right. What?
Yeah, what happened?
I thought there was more over there.
I think Banes ran into them.
Maybe. I mean, I would swear I saw more over there. By the way, there's another Ling counterattack here. Impact suddenly...
Yeah, this is really, really good for Impact. Pushing away this push, not losing your 4th base, and getting counter damage,
and
he's like, you a drop.
I feel like suddenly everything's going perfectly here for Impact. TY might need to pull it together here. Now, Impact's not going to slow down. He's definitely a guy who seizes an opportunity. We have Hydra's Lings and Banelings coming.
Yeah. Almost killing the Armory. That would have actually been really big, too, because he would have been stuck on 1-1 for a while here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see if this drop over here in the main does anything. There's nothing here, as far as I can see on the map, to distract Terran.
Yeah, TY should know about it.
Okay, so TY pulls.
And this is shift clicked, so yeah. I think he has to go for it. Yeah, he's going for it.
I almost feel like this was a bit of a waste.
Yeah, it was.
I think that he should have at least waited for like a Hydra Bane attack to come in here because...
Yep. I was going to say, like what you said, you just need to do something at the same time so you take TY's vision away.
The whole idea is, you draw their screen somewhere else, and then you do damage there.
If this wasn't TY, maybe. But, I mean, you can't expect from TY just, oh, what's that in my main? Is that a scouting overlord?
His playstyle is usually too tight.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked about how there's two types of GSL Codex Terrans. There's the ones that always stim and pull away to the last point, and then pick up and get away. And then there's the ones who stim and don't pick up in their medevacs when the Banelings get there.
Yeah, those are called the Brick Terrans.
The Brick Terrans?
We like to call them the Brick Terrans.
Brick
They don't
Terrans?
give a damn.
Yeah.
They just do what they do, and they don't care.
I like that.
lose
So
their
there's
army.
Brick Terrans, yeah.
Brick Terrans.
Because TY is not a Brick Terran, is the whole thing. So it's like,
not.
he's probably not going to have that. See, not very Brick Terran-ish right there.
Yeah, that
Picks
was
up.
not a Brick Terran. A Brick
Now, if
Terran
it was
just-
alive or something, with all due respect to alive, he would have lost maybe 6 Marines there.
A Brick Terran is like, okay, I can trade my Marines for Banelings. Like, that's okay.
Yeah, well, and in truth, it's really just because they're not fast enough, you know?
Yeah.
Innovation's another
Oh
person where you
my
just
God.
don't see him lose Marines there.
Look at how fast. Could you imagine if they both? Yeah, they don't. If they just both go to the Nat and then he loses everything. Oh.
Okay.
That's actually an okay hit shot for one Baneling. Oh, this is really annoying for Impact.
You know, the position of this Liberator is pretty good.
This
Impact's going to have to proceed with caution for sure.
Hello?
He's actually not mining for quite a while there.
Yeah,
now, it seems like Impact wants to come in here with a knockout blow. Now, he's going to have to get the siege tanks up here. TY will. It looks like this is finally reclaimed. Meanwhile, meanwhile, there it is.
Meanwhile.
We have an attack over here.
Yeah, this is not going to work out for Impact.
Well,
I'd be very surprised if
the
it does.
Hydras and the Banes are not quite having like a symbiotic relationship here. It's like the Banelings haven't killed the Marines. The tanks are still there. They hit the Hydras.
Yeah.
And I think Impact has just punted himself out of an advantage in this game as he just kind of didn't make anything really work. Now, Impact is going to, I think, in a second here, attack in again. And this one might work because the 4th base is actually being taken. Terrence not as safe over here.
Losing a bunch of Hydras for free, though. I think he's lost his window to do anything, like do any headbutting. He needs to just go play passively again. So we might end up seeing another late game. But I would be very, very scared for Impact if we have a game like last game where it's TY playing that game, because it's even scarier than if it's Cure.
TY was talking about how he feels like the game has forced him to play passively. And I think he meant this game in general. I don't think this game that we're seeing right now, I think actually TY could push later
TY
on.
could, for sure. I don't think he needs to, and in a game where you when you're ahead, get more ahead, you definitely don't want to lose your advantage, which is kind of what Impact did. Instead of getting ahead, he went and did some botched attack, and it also wasn't defending perfectly at home, which is obviously really hard to do. We do see TY going for the push, so you were right, and we'll see how that goes for him.
Okay, so TY comes out now, and you know, this is actually a little bit troublesome here for Zerg because Zerg doesn't have enough of the map opened up. So much of Impact's attention was devoted to trying to hurt TY that he's not exactly safe back at home. Impact isn't.
Yeah. This is a scary army for TY, like 103 army to 80. Oh, this run by could be really nice. If he can get on top of all of these reinforcements, he's going to trade really, really comfortably with that, and he can go into the Nat, and he's pulling TY back. That's the biggest thing
Does
here.
he get in the main too? Okay,
No,
at
he
least
doesn't.
that's blocked off. But, you know, TY's not doing a bad job. He can drop here, and when this gets driven away, just drop over to the left where the gold base is.
Yeah, we haven't seen very many workers go down for TY at the same time. But the biggest thing here is it bought time. Like, it's so big to pull TY away from that potentially just winning position. TY still being able to do damage while not being in that winning like position right now. We could still see it though. We could see the re-push here. Oh, it's gonna get a factory.
It's a nail biter. Does the tank get out in time?
It does.
Wow, that was close.
The SCV's helped though.
Well, Impact's actually gotten TY overall to stop setting foot on the creep.
Yeah.
But again, I feel as though TY could have a push, and maybe we're going to see it here. Sometimes this is just Terran applying pressure. They siege out, and they hope the Zerg freaks out and attacks in. It looks like this one's not just that, but he wants to actually start to push in. Now, with the tanks behind this cover, it's very hard for the Banelings to get the connections they want.
Yeah. You always go in it, you're like, oh, there's only a couple Marines here, and then there's a gigantic Marine army behind all the tanks, so really hard to tell. I think, yeah, it's just really hard to tell, honestly, how many Marines there are.
Okay, this actually could be a game-ending attack here. He's coming in. Now, he's spreading out very nicely. There's so many Banelings here, but they're not connecting on these Marines, and there's still tanks in the back. The Blinding Clouds, though, were nice enough And it looks like the Hydras finally managed to push through. The Greater Spire is saved. Oh my god.
The Greater Spire HP is actually insane.
82 HP there.
Oh man, just not enough support here for these Hydras though. If these Hydras get jumped on with all these Marines, they will go down.
Problem is that the push isn't done yet.
Yeah.
And the rally point here for Terran is actually pretty close. It seems like Impact can try to drive through.
Oh, beautiful Blinding Cloud here. Absolutely beautiful.
Really nicely done. And we're seeing this streamline of Hydras and Zerglings and even some Banes trying to come through.
It's a bit of an overextension in my opinion here, but he does have enough transfuses to keep some of these Hydras alive.
This is, I think you're right, man. I don't like seeing Zerg this far out with all these weak Hydras.
Especially these Queens, like they just can't back up. Like you can save the Hydra Link, but losing 5 Queens here is really bad.
It's a transfusion fiesta over there, where they're eventually going to run out of everything. The Banelings are being morphed too quickly here, and in this kind of tug of war of a fight, seems like TY has a lot of options open now.
Yeah, he does. 82 workers to 77 too. Like you don't have that big gap where you can trade and have a bigger army on the back foot of that. It's actually just an even or smaller army. So every trade like that is really bad for Impact.
Okay, so TY takes the gold base here, which I think is pretty smart because Impact is kind of up on the ropes right now. He's making Banelings really for defensive purposes, and you can see TY is keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, he's just kind of policing the creep too, not allowing it to get too far out onto the map, and that's just the way you want to play as a Terran player.
Okay, Impact at least sees that this base is being taken.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like that's just seeing
what?
These 2 Marines are holding down the fort here.
Okay, so he's still dropping. This is really just to try to keep Impact defending.
Oh, he might get the Greater Spire. He could definitely get it if he focuses it.
What I've
done.
Takes it out.
What
unfinished
nice
business.
Yeah, defensively, TY is looking pretty unbreakable as well. So I would love to see Impact kind of play the more passive game, able to defend all of his bases. But at this point, I think it's a little late, honestly. I'm not too sure what he can do from the spot. Like, he just doesn't really have the economy to be the defender anymore, but that's the way he wants to be playing this game.
I feel like this is a game where there's so much stuff we could remark on, but overall, TY was just... He was, like, just more efficient. He pushed at the right time. He's like the guy that... He ate his veggies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He did his homework, and here we are. It's the final test, and it seems like Impact was in such a bad spot. I mean, he's really trying to rebuild. He's trying to get a fresh start here. And TY, once again, similar to what we saw earlier, is going to rinse and repeat. He's going to get the tanks in a good spot. Nice dodge there, with the majority of those Marines not getting hit by the fungal. And he's just going to try to press on this base. This is the easiest base to push at. And he wants Impact to try to attack in and have an unfavorable exchange. And he's doing that right now.
Impact needs to wait for his Ultras. If he doesn't have Chitinous Plating, he needs it. So we'll probably not see Impact want to take this fight for a long time, but he does have to save this base.
Yeah, but if he keeps hemorrhaging all these Banelings...
Yeah, that's really not what you want to do.
TY's maxed out, and we're seeing the supplies still fluctuate here for Impact up and down.
Oh, man, this is a really bad spot to be in for...
Oh, my God.
Man. Oh?
He, like, locks the Ultra in.
That's really
Pimpus
good.
Plays. Guys, that's exactly what he meant to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Banelings killed those rocks, too.
If your friends are new, lie to them, tell them that was actually what he meant to do to trap the Ultra in. This, I think, should be just the point in time where everything from Zerg just starts to disappear. I mean, how are you going to stop this? The drones are now being evacuated. He's going to push in here northbound. Any counterattack so far has little, if any, consequence.
Yeah, I don't think Impact's going to have any chance here defending this. He is pulling back his entire... TY is pulling back his army and leaving some of it on the map. That's one way of see the Impact coming back, I guess. But he would need to kill the entire army for free.
This is a game of tap outs.
Yep.
It's like the ref comes in and tells him to throw in the towel. So we saw Impact just get to a point where TY was basically unstoppable, and Impact says, "Okay, I don't have enough. I need to go to game 2. I'm not going to sit here and drag this out. I only have so much stamina. I'm still a human being." And I think that's the wise decision.
I really like the way TY played that map. Like, he really played the map. The engagements were all really, really intelligent. Like, the middle map, he always wanted to pressure in the middle. That's kind of why you don't take that 4th base as an Impact. Could even be why Sue took the other 4th base. So Sue, really doing his homework on Eastwatch by the looks of it.
Okay, we're going to go to game number 2 here on Catalyst. Again, TY, he was having a hard time at the start of that game. He definitely had some misplays. We saw those Hellions get boxed in. I guess it was between the Extractor and the Roach Warren.
It was only 4 drones he killed with the whole harassment in the entire early game.
And
4 drones.
It seemed like Impact had this momentum. He was able to suddenly do what he wanted. And, you know, did he do some damage to TY? Yes. Did he do enough? No. And ultimately, it was TY that recouped, reorganized, pushed back out, and closed it out. Let's see what happens in game 2.
Really threw away his lead.
Titan EX1.
It's the worst.
Impact.
That is really the worst when you
is.
have a game, you're like, oh my God, I've got it. I'm actually doing it. I'm so good. And then some of your attacks don't work, and you're like, oh no.
Splice. TY.
That's actually one of the worst feelings as a new player. Like a new player to the pro scene. Like especially when you're on one of your debut matches and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna win my debut match, and then you're ahead and then you just throw it away.
Yeah, totally.
I may have experience here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, we should point out right away that this is a different map. I mean, the last map is just, it's so gargantuan.
Yeah, this map, it just plays out so differently. The one scary thing is I think if TY just plays the same as he played last map, it'll be so much stronger on this map. Like, Eastwatch is just such a bigger map, and this map has more abusable spots even than Eastwatch. Or at least the same.
It does. You know, this has sort of been a theme here of TVZ, at least in the current iteration of Legacy of the Void, is that seems like Terran, if they can get to a certain point where they have all the tech and they have enough income, they can really start to eke out damage against the Zerg. And Zerg seem to have a harder time trying to get an answer, you know?
Yeah.
And certainly on a map like this, like let's take where Impact is, and let's just pretend this game goes on for a long time. The main and the natural, and then the other two bases adjacent to that, the top center and the upper right. Okay, Zerg can probably take that and hold it off. I mean, sometimes Terran push through the upper right valley and take that, but the rest of the bases, you're actually expanding towards the Terran. This map is nowhere near as big.
Yep.
So a lot of times you can just bring games into late game. You've got the Ghosts. You've got, whether it's tanks or it's like Ravens because you're super late into the game, you're just starting to wipe out the Zerg, and all their income is being destroyed by spells.
The one Zerg that may favor this map is Impact, though. Like,
yeah, because he might not want a long game.
Yeah, he just might decide not to have one. He's just like, nah, I don't feel like a long game this game.
Mm-hmm.
Do something crazy. One thing to note is he's not mining as much gas. He's not going for the Overlord speed this game. So that is a deviation from this game and the last game, which is kind of interesting, because if he wanted to be a scouting player and he felt like he needed Overlord speed to do it, then he doesn't care what TY is doing right now, which is quite suspicious. Does lose a drone there. That's actually really bad.
Yeah, that doesn't normally happen. Usually we see, a lot of times I don't even play-by-play the engagement with the Reaper because nothing really comes of it.
Yeah. It's just every Zerg player is so good at dealing with it. You just instant spore every time. I'm very intrigued how Impact will play this game, because he is playing a deviation that would suggest something more aggressive, in my opinion. Obviously, it's really hard to tell really early on, but that's just how I feel. This is the vibe that I'm getting right now. So we do see probably going to be Banshee here again. The biggest question is it going to be Cloak or not? He does have 2 gas in the main, so it could potentially be Cloak. We'll have to see where he goes with that. Oh, he's getting Stim. Okay. Scratch that, I guess.
Going for the Stim here. You don't normally see him on patrol there.
Yeah, you really
normally
don't.
You just make a little C and then this block everything out there. So
this kind of looks like a delayed 2-1-1, which doesn't make much sense to me. Like, he's getting a second Rax on the reactor now. This leaves you super vulnerable, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't have a Banshee. You're limited to 4 Hellions. You can't build any more than that.
But you know, TY can mix it up too. I mean,
yeah.
He might just be saying, okay, because you know we were talking about who Sue has to face earlier. Think about who TY might have to face.
Yeah.
Even though Sue is in the losers match, I mean, it's still a factor. Maybe this isn't his best build. Maybe this is a build that's unusual that nobody would expect, but he can throw this one out. He's got something better later on. This is his flashbang build, so that Sue doesn't have any real useful information, assuming that TY wins this. Because you're right, the way this build is coming out, it's not the usual pacing of a Terran.
Yeah, this is going to be a 2-base tank push by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So this this could be really scary for Impact to deal with, especially if TY gets into that sweet spot where your tanks are really, really strong, which is really easy to do on this map too. I guess we'll have to see if Impact takes a fast third or if he plays it a bit more passively with a bit more tech, which would be the better play against tank push, especially with no third CC on the way.
You know, just going back and getting a little bit of history here, not the last IEM Katowice, but the one before that, obviously different matchup, but TY won with a very specific 2-base push. Yeah. I believe twice in the last 2 games, if my memory serves me correctly. He's good at this. Yeah, he knows how to come in. If this is what he's focused on, he can a lot of times come in here and win sort of an early game boxing match and basically eliminate the late game is even being a factor.
Which is funny you would do that versus Impact.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the crazy thing, right, is how ready is Impact for this?
Impact has 26 drones on his third base right now. That seems
here we go.
Unnecessary, to say the least. He actually might hit a really nice timing right before Bane speed, which would be really, really nice for TY. I have to feel like Impact is going to be feeling this pressure, especially when he scouts the third in a second and sees that there is none. He should definitely be knowing what is coming his way. He needs to get him before he sieges up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or maybe even try to force a siege and get away if he can. That's one thing you could do.
Delay, for sure.
You know, it's one of the oldest tricks in the book. If a Terran's pushing you, make him siege and then run back, and then when they unsiege, make him siege again, and just keep on. No, not there. Yeah, that's not where you want to make the banelings.
Oh no, and all his other banelings.
Oh no!
Running straight through the tank fire. This is really, really bad for Impact.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he can defend now.
I think we actually just have GG.
Losing all of his queens now.
TY knows how to execute an attack. GG. TY takes it.
2-0.
2-0. Very impressive stuff.
This is now the ideal group for TY, for sure.
What was that in Star Wars? You see, I know I'm a lot older than you. You see Return of the Jedi?
Yep.
Remember when he's at Jabba the Hutt's palace?
Yep.
And like they hit that button, and that pig guy falls down into the...
Yeah.
What's that monster called?
I'm trying to think. Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
I don't know. Anyways, that's what Impact has fallen into now, because Sue's down there in the losers bracket.
Yeah, you don't want to be down there.
You don't want to be down there, man.
Yeah,
you want to be up in the winners match, looking through those crates.
Yeah.
This is going to be tough. So coming up next, we've got a TVT, as our graphic says, Courier against TY. We'll be right back.